Greetings, Commanders! Welcome to Crash Landing episode 25, recorded on the 28th of December 2013. I am Commander Crash, and tonight I am joined by Commander Alien.
Hello!
Alien is here to help me answer your questions whilst I play. In this episode we will be showing you lots of things. We're having an end-of-year mix-up. This might be the last chance I get to stream this year. What a great 2013 it's been. So we're going to start off with a bit more of the alpha, obviously, because that's what everyone's come here to see. But when a few more people jump in, we're going to do some comparisons between all the other games, all the originals, and a bunch of other space games that I enjoy. And how are you this evening, Alien?
Oh, I'm okay. I've
Good.
just been finishing off the last of the Christmas Day leftovers.
I think I've been doing the same myself. I think that's something that everyone can appreciate this time of year. Oh, there's always so much food. Too much. So yes, at the request of Stigran, I think he was quite eager for me to get back to my roots, so to speak, and show a bit of Frontier Elite 2. Now, all being well, I can probably get the two side by side. I won't be able to play both at the same time, obviously, but just to get them up next to each other so we can do a comparison. Now, I did notice earlier on today there was a couple of things on the forums where, I think it was a couple of days ago, but there was a thread I saw on the forum, someone asking if we needed a cockpit at all, which was an odd one for me, but I can see where they were coming from. But I think this day and age, with the screen real estate we have for things like this, it's kind of to be expected, really, to have something like a cockpit.
Yeah.
And I said, back in the day, it was 2/3 of the screen didn't have anything on. Well, 2/3 of the screen was your view into the world, and then a third at the bottom was reserved for the cockpit itself. But I mean, that was more to do with the limitations of the hardware of the day, really.
Yeah. I mean, as I've said before, I've played a lot of the X series from Egosoft, all the way from their first game, Beyond the Frontier, up until Terran Conflict. So I've seen cockpits and not cockpits, without cockpits. So I've seen it from both sides. And for me, while not having a cockpit gives you lots of screen to look at of the what's going on.
Yeah.
Having a cockpit is vital for the immersion. And I think Frontier know this.
Yeah, I agree with that. It definitely feels a lot better having this thing moving around you, even without the rift in. The sensation of movement you get from when it's barreling sideways and whatnot. It's fantastic. It's really, really good feeling you get from it.
I mean, the dash might take up the bottom third of your screen, but it's what makes a space game.
Exactly, it's part of it. I mean, with something like a first-person shooter, it's understandable. I mean, you just have a couple of hints at your current health and stuff like that, and a HUD is pretty much minimal, but that's a first-person shooter. You're expected to be just you walking around somewhere, but this is not one of those games. You are supposed to be sat in a vehicle of sorts with something around you.
Yeah. Without the cockpit there, you're just a flying, headless entity. Yeah.
And that would be even more surreal with the Rift on, so I'm glad there is some form of cockpit. Definitely. So I'm playing around with the control scheme a little. I've added a few options in for subsystem targeting. I managed to do a little bit of messing around with subsystem targeting last night. I wasn't actually streaming last night. I was having a night off. How dare I? I think there was a comment on the recent Live Radio episode actually about how I'd managed to completely take out the turreted beam laser, and I felt really awful. I had to go comment on the thread saying I didn't actually take it out, but I did do some damage to it, so
Yeah.
Credit where credit's due and all that. So I went back and had another go at it, and I just managed to get it down to around 80-something%, I think it was.
Do you want to tell people what you were trying to do last night?
Well, I've got no issue with telling people if there are people about that want to know. Yes, I was being rather naughty last night. I was having a look around in the files, being the said person is to be inclined is to investigate certain binary files. I won't say the word. No, I was having a look around, and I did manage to remove the scenario timeout restriction as I was telling you last night, which was fun. It's always good fun to see how this stuff works. But
Yeah.
I left it going for the better part of 2 hours. I think it would have made a very boring stream, but I did manage to get much closer to the planet, which was good to see that it was actually possible, and it is actually a 3-dimensional planet, not just some make-believe background like a lot of people have been suggesting. See, I'm trying my best. Ooh, I'm trying my best to try new tactics with these guys to try and not use the old reverse and speed away tactic, but so far I've not found a good way of getting away from them without getting your shields down all the way to 0. I mean, definitely when you've got more than one target on your tail, it's a very tricky thing to get away from them all. The best bet at the moment seems to be get out of their range and then turn around and try and pick 1 or 2 off at a time.
Yeah. Captain Grumpy Pants asks, have you tried parking in the tiniest asteroids yet?
I did have a quick play with it, yeah. I managed to do that in an earlier episode. I'll do that on the next mission with some asteroids just for fun. But yeah, it is great that you can actually do that, and the details.
Scraping and grinding.
There was well, okay, there was a lot of scraping and grinding, but I proved that you could do it. That was the main thing.
He's saying he managed to lose a lot of recordings trying to get everything working and lost 4 hours of gameplay last night.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh dear. So that's the problem I was having. I was trying to record, because some people have been asking on my YouTube channel to show some 1080p footage of the Rift, but unfortunately I just cannot get the quality good enough, because it would really have to be something like 60 frames per second for it to be a reasonable recording on the Rift. Otherwise it's uncomfortable to watch back, and YouTube just doesn't seem to like recording, high frame rate, high resolution, and it just doesn't seem to like that sort of thing. And I was having trouble capturing it, let alone uploading it to YouTube, so I don't think I'm going to be able to get anything decent quality-wise up on there. Where's an asteroid? Let's find a tiny, tiny little asteroid. So I found all the files where the asteroids were hidden as well. Not that I could do anything with them, but I found lots of interesting things. I don't know, I just wanted to play with it. I was sat there messing around with it all last night. Ooh, incoming missile. I don't care about a missile.
See, what scares me when you talk about these things is you might know what you're doing, right? But someone watching this video might not know what they're doing and try to play with it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. I'm not going to give any specifics.
If you don't know what you're doing,
don't play with it.
Touch it.
Don't play with it. Absolutely.
Honestly,
You're
not
better
you,
off.
Kerrash. I'm everyone else watching.
Yeah, I definitely I shouldn't have been poking around, but I just these things intrigue me. I want to know how they work. And we're in there. If only I had the Rift on now, I could stare around. We're in the asteroid. Let's just... Where did it go? Was that? There it is. That's not a very big asteroid, is it? I want my landing gear. So and there is actually files for landing gear as well. I found those. Lots of interesting little tidbits in there which are suggesting things which I probably shouldn't know yet. Like various names of various spacecraft which are not been named yet. It's all there and readable for people who want to play around with it. That's all I'm going to say. Whee! Right, I better go help my wingman out. I'm just messing around with asteroids and he's getting chased by a cobra. Oh, Gatling guns again. The old stealth option. I was quite surprised at that actually. It kind of it seems a bit counterintuitive, doesn't it, that a Gatling gun would be a stealth option. but I suppose it makes perfect sense in space.
See, I keep thinking the Gatling gun should be called a railgun.
What have we got now? We got no secondary weapons. Damn you!
Is that because both weapons are the same?
Yeah. This one's already kitted out, so there's only one primary thing, and my instinct then was to hit the secondary fire to try and fire a missile off of them, but of course I haven't got any secondary fire on this ship, so it's just the way they've loaded out the ship. And I found the files for that as well, actually, interesting. There's a bunch of presets for the ship loadouts, so I was looking at how they're all kitted out, and what objects are assigned to them and whatnot. There's me firing beyond my weapon range again. That's another thing, I don't feel that that's immediately apparent, really. The old you are out of range information kind of shows up right next to your weapons on the bottom right corner of the HUD. It's a little bit out of the way at the moment.
We need something like a ship's computer. Target is now within firing range, sort of thing.
Yeah, some sort of much better indication of it, something a bit more obvious, and I think that's going to be tweaked now. I was quite surprised actually. Last night I went back and had a look at the Damocles video with the pre-rendered HUD that they used as a mock-up to test the ideas out. It's actually surprising how much they've tweaked and improved from that video alone. I'd urge anyone to go back and put them side by side and do a comparison, because it's you can see they have improved a heck of a lot just from that early video. Shields are back up again, come on. I'm gonna chase you down. Where's my wingman? He's like miles behind me. Quite literally miles in this game. Sense of scale is quite staggering, really. Especially when you start doing the things I was doing last night, you know. I took the best part of 2 hours, and it for me it didn't feel like I was any closer at all. I mean, obviously I was when I compared the 2 images. I was actually closer, but now it seemed to take an absolute age just to get that far. Come on, I gotta play chicken with a cobra.
Question to you from
Okay.
Captain Grumpy Pants.
Okie dokie.
Is your x-axis mapped to the yaw or roll? He's found it works better for him with the X on yaw and roll on the twist of the joystick.
Oh, really? Oh, well, mine's set on the defaults, but I will give it a go, and I'll see how I feel about that.
What confused me at Elite Meet when I had a go at Oolite was the joystick had a twist on it, and for me, I've always got that on roll.
Oh, right, okay.
And the joystick was set up so that the twist was yaw.
Oh, okay.
As in the straight side-to-side movement. And I wasn't used to that.
Oh, right.
And then when I docked and I stood up to let someone else have a go, and I mentioned it, they said, well, yeah, that's a proper flight simulation setup.
Yes, yeah. That's, yeah. Whoa. Alright, first of all, I need
to have roll on your twist isn't the proper setup.
No, I've never had it.
We're not talking aeroplanes, we're talking spaceships.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, I've always had it on the twist for yaw. That's how I've always had it set up. It's, I mean, realistically, if you were really flying an airplane, that would be your, I imagine your rudder control, would it be? You'd have the pedals on the floor for rudder control, something like that?
Yeah. Yeah, you in an airplane you don't have twist, you have rudder pedals.
Yeah. So let's give this a go. This is going to be totally backwards to me, but I'll try it and see how far I get. Ooh, whoa. Oh, this is like jumping in someone else's car and trying to get used to all the controls without... No. No, this feels totally backwards to me.
now you know how I felt when I bought Oolite at Elite League.
Yeah, it's like, this is wrong, this is just wrong. And I suppose that's what it is, it's all a question of preference really, isn't it? It's what you're used to, what you've got used to using. I think I could get used to this, but at the moment it just feels a bit wrong. It's a bit like having the pedals backwards on a car, or the steering wheel working in the opposite orientation or something like that. It is a bit...
Yeah.
Yes, pull the steering wheel out to turn, what?
Oh, you just reminded me of something I saw years and years and years ago. Oh, it was like that was it. It was a bicycle.
Oh,
Motorbike, one of the two, where when you turned the handlebars, it went the opposite way to normal.
oh my god. Oh, I think I saw that something like that at a village carnival or something near where I lived. Whoa. Something like that. It was a bunch of crazy bikes or something. They had a whole range of them. Some of them were backwards, some of them were inside out. Wheels were the wrong way round, and a bunch of crazy things like that. No. Try. No. Oh god, this really doesn't feel right.
I'd say it's like from driving a car to driving a forklift truck.
Yes, it feels a little weird, yeah.
Because the steering on a forklift truck's on the back wheels, not the front.
Yeah.
And you've got to think differently as to how you steer the vehicle.
Yeah, absolutely. Just got to use my beam laser to finish this guy off, I think. There we go. Last dude. Whee! Let's get the heck out of Dodge. Yeah, I'm sorry, I tried it, but oh my god, no. That's it. Each to their own. I'm not gonna tell anyone they should have it in a particular way, definitely. Let's get that back on there, inverted, and there we go. Hopefully that's the correct orientation.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. If having your on the twist works for you, have it that way.
Yeah.
If that's what works for you, it's great.
Oh, it's better if I don't invert it as well. That's weird. That is like driving drunk. Pitching, you know.
I've had some games where you move the mouse, and like you move the mouse forward, and it moves the screen up. Like you look up. And I invert that because I like it like the aeroplane thing where you move the mouse forward and you pitch downwards.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I've seen a load of people play that on. I mean, first-person shooters, I can't play it inverted at all. I've tried. Whoa, my pitch axis is inverted now. Just on the subject as we're talking about it. Yeah, I've tried a couple of first-person shooters where the pitch, the up and down motion is inverted, and it just doesn't seem right on a first-person shooter. And I think it is very much down to your style of play in particular games. You have to kind of find something you're comfortable with. I mean, like we were saying earlier on about the cockpits, as much as this feels right having a cockpit. When I play a lot of racing games, I actually prefer to play like completely without a cockpit, like that kind of bumper cam view. That's kind of my preferred way of playing those sorts of games. And I suppose it's just down to what what you're used to playing, and what your preferred style is. Really, that's the only way to really look at it.
Yeah.
So where is this? There you are. Gotcha. Come on. Boom. See if I can. No. See, I want to get in closer, and I want to do more dogfighting a bit. At the moment, it's just, this whole kind of like reverse mechanic really came about because it just seemed like suicide getting into a lot of these dogfights. So, especially when you have like multiple contacts on your tail taking you out at the same time, sort of thing. Your shields go down so quickly that you just can't really do anything effective. So. It really came about as a kind of panic tactic that, stay out of the way and pick them off from a distance, which is... It's doable, but it just doesn't seem as interesting as I'd like it to be, you know what I mean? I'd like it to be a bit more, get your get your hands dirty, get in the middle of it, but no, it just seems like absolute suicide at the moment. As soon as you get in amongst, especially the factions scenario at the end, that last scenario, you get yourself in the middle of that, it's, you know, it's kiss your ship goodbye, you don't stand a chance, you get in the middle of that lot. So I hope there's some more balance that goes on there, or at least some, once they figured out a good way of doing it, they find a tactic that works well. Something that should be very, very well suited to a set of tutorials or something to show you, you know, how to take on multiple targets and survive. Oh, that's one thing for the Let's Play videos. We'll have to set some of those up at some point once the alpha and beta stages are said and done. I've still got my 2 wingmen.
Okay, we have a question from Tiki God.
Okie dokie.
Does the mouse in Elite Dangerous follow the same behaviour as joystick with a cursor you move off-centre to turn, or does it adopt a horrible first-person shooter style of control where you need to keep moving the mouse to constantly turn?
I think it can be set up to do both, actually. Once I've got out of this battle, I'll go check the control options, but you can set it up to be like an absolute or relative motion, whatever your preference is. So I haven't played a lot with the mouse options, because like I said earlier on, I do feel like the mouse just isn't a particularly good way of playing this game. You know, it's been very heavily tweaked and optimized for joypad, sticks and that sort of setup, so...
If you're going to try mouse, dogfighting with the mouse, can I ask a question then while you're trying it? Do your lasers hit where your mouse pointer is, or do they hit the target site in the centre, regardless of where you have the mouse?
Good point. Let's check this now. I'll do on the... I think they tend to go in the centre, and I don't know whether you actually get a cursor view up on there actually. So let's just flip it over to keyboard and mouse. Not the best mission to do it on, but we'll give it a go. So
the reason I ask is I've been trying to use a joystick in X3TC for dogfighting, and that fires directly in the centre of your view.
Right, okay.
And I've been having difficulty with that because I'm not used to using a joystick. So I've then gone back to the mouse. Well, to play it with the mouse, your left button moves you around the turn off center that Tiki God was mentioning, and your right mouse button fires, but it fires wherever you've got the mouse on the screen.
Right. Okay, well, we'll find out shortly. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to work in this one. So I'll leave it on traditional. So you've got the 2 targeting systems. You've got traditional and trail from centre, so that's probably going to be relevant to what we were just saying there, that you know, whether or not you're going to shoot down the centre or where your cursor is. So we will try both of those shortly. I'm just going to remind myself where most of these options are. I haven't played a lot with the mouse, so... Right. There we go. Okay, here we go. So we've got this this little dot in the centre, which I think is where our weapons are going to go. Oh, I've got no thrust. Why have I got no thrust? No, I need to go check my options. Bear with me. I should have thrust up, down, increase throttle, decrease throttle. Okay. Roll left, roll right. There we go. No, we've got no... Oh, there we go. Eventually it kicked in. Yeah, so it fires into the centre where this little dot is, and... ooh, Kerrash! What you do is you effectively got this little V-shaped cursor, which kind of is stuck to the centre of the screen, and it can go around in this little window, this little box, and that is the orientation of your ship, which direction it's going to try and travel in. So yeah, it doesn't actually go where that cursor is. Your whatever weapon you've got targeted will go into that center position there. So
Right.
that's a little confusing to begin with, but it makes sense really when you think about how the this is a hard point which has got no gimbaled control on it at all. So.
But you're using the mouse to steer the ship.
Yes, yeah. So basically, if I hold this on full left at the moment, the ship's going into a full yaw to the left. If I hold it up, it pitches up directly there, and that'll come through in the feed in a second. There's this, like I said, there's this little V-shaped cursor following the center around.
So those of you watching that have played the X series and are familiar with how combat in X3 Terran Conflict works, it doesn't work like that.
It's a little different. I'll tell you what we'll try after, if I can actually take this guy out without... Ooh, the sneeze cannon works well.
From what you described, that when you use the mouse it still shoots to where your target is in the centre of your view.
Yes, yeah.
It doesn't make much difference whether you use a mouse or a joystick then.
No, you don't seem to have any advantage. It's not like a first-person shooter. You can just point and shoot and click and be done with. There's still... Oops. You still got that kind of lag where it's trying to catch up with the little arrow that you've dragged off center. So it's definitely not like you would expect a normal first-person shooter kind of motion. What I'll do now is I'll just quickly switch over to the other method, the other targeting method. It's traditional and trail from center. So that affects the way that ships are targeted rather than the actual relative motion of the cursor and whatnot itself. But let's target the next one. There we go. Oh, of course, I don't actually have a weapon which shows the trailing, but I'll have to do that on another scenario. On this one, you don't actually have it. So I've got it kind of set up at the moment. So you got the W, A, S, and D keys like you'd have on a normal shooter are set up to give me roll and lateral side-to-side thrust. So I do feel like yaw on the mouse makes much more sense. Like you've got that fine grain control of using the yaw on the x-axis of the mouse seems to work quite well. So that when I'm targeting from a distance, I've got that extra fine kind of sensitivity almost of the mouse there. I can really hone in that target reticule.
Yeah.
It's not actually much use for flying though, to be fair. I mean, for the majority of the flying I'm doing right now, I'm just kind of using the W, A, S, and D keys to give me the roll. And I think I might actually prefer it if I set this up in kind of a hybrid sort of way, so that I've got the full keyboard control of the spaceship, but then the mouse just gives me that little bit of fine grain tuning on the targeting and all that. I think that might be worth a shot. Whoops, missed. Yeah, I think it's actually too sensitive at the moment. Let's try that right down. There we go. Oh, that feels a little better. Yeah, that feels a bit better actually. Definitely the W, A, S, and D keys can be set up quite nicely, I think, to do full movement. So I'm going to try that now. Let me just try and get that all set up. We've got roll left, which I think was the default actually. Lateral thrust I'm not too worried about. I'm going to put that on there. It might seem a little bit odd, but what I'll do as well is I'll have pitch up and down on the keys, so I've got full flight control on the keyboard without using the. Yeah, that feels a bit better. So I've got full control of the ship without actually using the mouse at all.
Right.
But so I can fly quite nicely without worrying myself with that. But then for just trimming up the yaw to get that good shot in, I can still use the mouse just to fine-tune that targeting. That seems a little better, actually. If I can just get out of this death spiral with this sidewinder. Come on. Of course, I mean, we've touched on this before, but I think one of the things that would really bug me is if anyway the gameplay experience was nerfed to deal with different control mechanisms. That's the thing that kind of worries me. Is I think I was talking about some of the old tablet games where it's like you take that tablet interface away and put them on something like a joypad, and the majority of the difficulty of the gameplay goes out the window because you've got a better control mechanism. And you know, you can argue until the cows come home which is the best control mechanism, but personally, like I said, it's down to preference and
yeah, I was going to say it's more a case of which is best for you.
I've seen a lot of people that play first-person shooters with some really, really odd configurations. You know, not on the typical WASD keys, but you know, down on the arrow keys and using the number pad for various actions and stuff like that. And I just find that really, really odd. It just doesn't seem to suit me at all. But you know, they play it quite competently, so you know, you can't argue with it. They're managing to use it, so.
I will be honest, when I get my hands on it, I'm going to set it up and see how my Competition Pro joystick does.
Yeah, and I think, you know, it definitely, it's going to work with a lot of different control mechanisms. They've put in so many different options for you to play with. I mean, I've flicked through the controls pretty quickly tonight, but there's options to invert each one of the control schemes if you prefer pitch up and pitch down to work, you know, differently.
Yeah.
Or you know, and that's on a lot of the different controls. Actually, there's virtually every control supports some kind of toggle or hold mechanism. So for the flight assist at the moment, I've got it on hold, so I actually have to squeeze that trigger down on the flight stick to get the flight assist to turn off. Or you can have it on toggle, so you don't have to worry about it. It would literally just click it once and click it back on again to turn it on and off. So, and virtually all of the options seem to come with something like that. In the you know, all the control buttons that you can assign, they've all got various different modes and things you can do to them, which I was quite surprised with. Actually, it's very, very configurable, and it's particularly for an alpha as well.
Yeah, but can you play it on a 1980s modern version of a 1980s joystick?
I don't see why not.
Mine's the one with the big round knob on the top of the stick. It's only got 4 buttons.
Excellent. Well, I did see someone on the forums was actually asking if they could play it when I think they had I think it was a replica of the old Atari 2600.
Atari 2600 stick, yeah. That's
Love
when
it.
I posted a picture of my joystick.
Oh, I haven't seen the rest of that thread. I'll have to go back and check.
Yeah. Yeah. Just to clarify, I have 2 joysticks. The Competition Pro, which is a modern version of the 1980s one, which I bought purely for sentimental reasons. It's no good for playing just about every single game. And I have the Mad Cats.
Yeah. Oh, Mad Cats, yeah, there's good controllers. So I wasn't looking at my shields there, so I got my backside handed to me, but there we go. Never mind. But no, I mean, I think I could get used to doing that. I think half of the issue is I haven't demonstrated that very well there for a lot of people, I don't think, but I think that's literally just, I'm just not used to using that control setup. I've got so used to using what I've got that that would take me a little bit more time to get used to it. I mean, to be honest, in like the first episode of playing this, I was pretty naff at it, to be fair, and I've kind of got used to it after playing with a little while. So yeah, I think I could get used to having the keyboard set up in a slightly hybrid kind of approach there. So it's kind of half and half first-person shooter.
A couple of comments on the chat. Decamiron, yep, I hope it can be played on a QuickShot 2 Turbo or a PowerPlay Cruiser. I remember the QuickShot 2 Turbo. Locutus at Wolf359, Star Trek fan, obviously. Hope you have sobered up sufficiently after the Xmas festivities, Kerrash.
Sobered up, me bugger. I've got a can of Bud here. I got you, like you said, you got all the Christmas leftovers. I literally have all the alcoholic leftovers, so to speak. Never find that key. I got that on toggle again. I'll put it back on hold. See, there's some of the options I was talking about actually whilst I'm here. You got various ones. You know, they got tweakable dead zones. You can invert them. Various toggles can be either on a toggle or a hold mechanism instead. So you know, there's so many options on here that you know, already in an alpha. And I did notice that from 1.0 to 1.1 alpha, they did actually add a whole chunk more options in your particular, like the head look, resetting the oculus orientation and things like that. They were all added in. So many options, and it's just going to get more and more in depth, I think, with future versions. Delay there. Ah, dear. Those prisoners just keep escaping from the brig, that's the issue. Really should drop them off somewhere. So, is it Ross 128, isn't it? Leave them there, they'll be fine.
The prison planet, yeah.
Yeah, we'll leave them there. Yeah, so I was playing this this particular scenario yesterday, and I wanted to try and find a combat tactic that wasn't completely lame like the reverse and hide kind of mechanism. I just couldn't. I couldn't seem to find something, you know, to stay out of the fire long enough. You really had to kind of like dive in, pick a target out, and then run away and wait for your shields to come back out. You know, that was a thing that was a bit of a pain. But I will find something. I'll find some way of doing it. There we go. There we go. I'm gonna take you down. Boom. Have you had a chance to listen to the Christmas live radio episode yet?
I haven't.
Oh, it's really good actually. Fozza came on last night, so they just put it up. It's really good. Let's balance out these shields. And I have to say, a big thank you to those guys as well, actually, because they shouted me out several times on the radio. So I was quite surprised and pleased about that. That was very nice of them to do.
So they were watching the other night then?
They must have been, yeah.
Come on the chat and said hi.
I think they must have been busy trying to record or something like that. So, I mean, that is the problem with, you know, things like Skype and all that. If you're trying to record the thing, you can't have various audio things popping up. And I mean, we know that was the issue we had initially trying to set up this, you know, to combine the two audio feeds, so to speak. It's not particularly easy to get everything all set up and running.
No.
Oh, missed. Oh, dear. Really could not hit him then at all. Come on.
For example, I'm watching the stream on Twitch, but I have to have the sound muted, otherwise I hear myself talking in my ear whilst listening to you live.
30 seconds later, which is... doesn't sound bad, but it's surprisingly frustrating, I must admit. Ooh, wait for his shields to pop back up before I destroy him. That was just mean. Thought he had a chance, didn't he? Yeah, it is a little bit disoriented. I had issues trying to do that before. I mean, when I initially started streaming, I had a laptop set up next to me, and I was trying to check my audio levels and everything on the laptop. So I have it there with running the stream in the background, and I could mute my microphone and kind of lean over and check what the levels sounded like, but it was really distracting and disorientating.
Yeah.
So, hey, you live and learn. I have, like you said, I haven't got a room with a guy in an audio desk there.
No.
Need a sound producer. Burn. No, not enough energy in the weapons. Go. Boom! Had to do the trick. Oh no, his shield's fully recharged. recharged. So I've noticed this really weird effect that once you've taken shields down the first time, they don't seem to have the same level of strength the next time, even if they do completely recharge up to the 3 concentric rings. They just don't seem to have as much. But this is on the target ships, that is. They just, you take them down that first time, you get them all the way down to 0 on the shields, and then you chase after them. Their shields pop back up, and then when you try and take their shields away again, they just seem to go down a lot quicker the second time round, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's, I don't know if it's just me, but... I do like that gun. I know I shouldn't overuse it, but it's so much fun!
What's these cannon?
Choo! Brilliant. Love it. And that's one thing I can actually confirm from the guys were discussing this on the late radio show. Actually, on this particular scenario, I think it was Chris Jarvis was actually saying that he had the ships were just appearing right in front of him. I think that is actually the case. What it does is it triggers an event after you killed the last target. Like a fraction of a second later, it kind of like picks a destination point for them to hyperspace into the system. So if you stay stationary, they do appear to jump in right in front of you. But if you're moving around frantically after killing a target, then they do appear to come in randomly. So I think that's just clears that up. Come on, caught in a death spiral here. That's it, you turn away from me. Go on, there we go. Boom! So I'll hold stationary now, and he should appear. There we go, there's 3 targets coming in. You'll see that in a second. Ah, the delay.
One of the funniest things I've seen with regards to a delay is the 2 Ronnie's Mastermind sketch where he's answering the question.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Very confusing, but very clever.
Yeah.
I love that particular one. Brilliant fun. Oh, come on.
Hans is asking, what's a death spiral?
A death spiral. So it's kind of this frustrating thing that happens when you're dogfighting. You kind of get stuck in this loop where you're trying to rotate around someone and they're rotating around you, and you just seem to not be getting anywhere. You're both kind of spinning around at the same rate trying to get to each other. You just seem to get stuck in this spiral, constantly trying to get each other in your sights. And there's a couple of tactics you can do to try and get out of it, but it is kind of frustrating. You kind of get stuck in this constant chasing your tail sort of behaviour.
Should I say what I normally do in that situation, or should I keep stum and save it for when I'm actually in?
I was going to say that's up to you. It's up to you whether that's you can share your combat tips.
If I'm in a constant turn chasing after someone who's also in a constant turn chasing after me, I will sometimes literally turn in the other direction. So instead of constantly turning right, I will start turning full left instead.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So you come round on them from the other direction.
Yeah, that would make sense.
If they're not expecting it, it's a good tactic.
I'll have to try that on the next
because it breaks that death
cycle.
spiral.
Yeah, it gets rid of that cycle. Yeah, definitely. No, that makes perfect sense.
Hans asks a question. I wonder if there will be smart bombs at some point.
Smart bombs.
Now, does he mean like the
energy bomb
in FE2, or does he mean a smart bomb that only takes out certain ships?
Well, yeah, I suppose if you had some sort of like I know something which picked up a certain frequency and managed to disable ship systems, something like that. And, that would be interesting, I suppose. I don't know. They have talked about various options for things you can do, and the fact that you can take particular damage on the ship systems. It would allow you to. I think what we spoke about. What was it? You see that effect where the cockpit gets.
He says energy bomb, so he means like in Frontier Elite 2.
Energy bombs. No! No! Mind you, I'm usually on the receiving end of an energy bomb, that's why I'm so averse to them. I think, wasn't that ruled out in one of the earlier forum posts? I think it was an Alien? I got a distinct recollection that that with ECMs as well was one of the things that Frontier were kind of dead against. They didn't want that kind of like I win button for situations.
Yeah.
They wanted there to be a more tactical element to a lot of gameplay. So I don't think we'll see anything like that. We might see something with a similar kind of effect, but
when I've played FE2 and I've had an energy bomb used on me and I survive, I literally sit there and go, ha 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 ha, I've seen your energy bomb.
yeah, I suppose if they've only got one of them in there and it doesn't work effectively for them, then yeah, I suppose it can be quite a nice thing, really satisfying sort of thing. It's like, yeah, you just fired your biggest weapon and it was completely ineffective. Yeah, that is a nice feeling. But, oops, there we go. Really struggling against multiple targets. So this was the thing I was talking about last night. I was trying to find an effective way of actually getting in the middle of this and actually, kind of enjoying the dogfighting thing rather than just hightailing it in reverse and trying to pick them off one by one. But I haven't found an effective way to do this. As soon as you train yourself on one target, you get the other three shooting you, and they take your shields down so quickly that you then find yourself trying to hide to see my shields are down again now. Like, damn. So
what I was doing in Terran Conflict today with multiple targets was having a lot of missiles on my ship and then taking on, say, 4 pirates and just going, fire missile, next target, fire missile, next target, fire missile, next target, and you just spamming the targets with missiles.
Yeah. Sounds like the old Quake tactic of just spamming the area with grenades.
Yeah, because while they're busy trying to avoid 2 or 3 missiles heading for them, they're not shooting at you.
Yeah, that is a good point. And that's, I mean, if I was in this sort of situation, I think I would set up my ship with that particular loadout. But I think the issue with this is, I've got a beam weapon and a railgun, which is okay for taking out a few individual targets from a distance. But when you've got multiple targets on your tail, it's kind of not a good loadout for your ship. You need a couple of seeking missiles here to help you in this situation, I think. But I'm getting there slowly. I think patience. Pick one off at a
Hans
time.
has just commented he's looking forward to seeing how the Thargoids will come out. I think we all are.
Yes, we want to know more on that. We're all eager to find out, but they won't tell us anything, even though we directly and in person pressurised Michael Brooks to tell us more. He wouldn't tell us. Damn it!
You have to give Michael his dues. If he doesn't want to say something, he won't.
Oh no. I was. I was quite pleased when he did actually say that they were on target deadline-wise. So that was good of him to actually say that.
He said that back in the end of July, and we're now 5 months later, and bam, they were dead on target.
Yeah, fair play to them. They know what they're doing. They have got this whole system down to a T. They know exactly what they're doing with this, and I can see there's a lot of groundwork already built in it. Again, going back to my having a look around in the files, there's a lot of groundwork already set out in the files which were already there for things that haven't even been mentioned yet. Put it that way.
Yeah.
Very interesting stuff. There's a couple of files that hint at the markets that we'll have access to and things like that. So that's all laid out, and obviously they must have some functional working system internally that they're experimenting with, no doubt. So, oops.
So here's a question for the developer side of you then.
Mm-hmm.
Why would they give you an alpha build
Mm-hmm.
and have files in the alpha build, which, alright, yeah, obviously for future use, but for there and then in the alpha build are of absolutely no use whatsoever. Like trading,
Yeah.
like the other ships that aren't in the alpha build at the minute.
I would say, I mean, I don't know exactly from their point of view in their engine, it's different for every single engine. I'm getting my ass handed to me right now, so I'm probably going to die whilst I answer this question, but I'll do my best. For me, I would say it's kind of like a DLL. Sometimes, even though you don't need the entire DLL, if you've linked one tiny part of it, you would need the entire file included in your install. You know, just because you've used just that one little function on it, it's kind of a frustrating thing. So some of the things I found, for example, are for like the marketplace stuff, is related to the toxic canisters. So the first mission we've got the toxic canisters on. They've obviously got, there's a lot of information in there about their worth and various other things like that. It's all kind of interrelated and it's used in various nope, I'm dead. Yeah, so it's kind of because it's been used, because they've had a reference to the toxic canister in one of the missions, they effectively they've had to include the entire file and all of associated files related to it. So they've actually done a pretty good job of cutting out a lot of the chaff. There's a lot of stuff which looks like it's been nullified and removed and kind of taken out so we don't see it, but it's all down to that association. As soon as you add one element into the game, you kind of have to have all these elements that you know, even if you don't use them, they're all interlinked and related effectively.
Alright. Hans has just commented, he thought you said toxic hamsters.
Yeah, sorry, that's the alcohol kicking in. Yes, I was meant to say canister. For all I know, I probably did say hamster. I don't know. Don't even know the time of day right now. There we go. Yeah, it's you kind of think of it. It's like your Windows directory on a computer, that sort of thing. You know, you have a lot of files in there which are completely irrelevant to most people, but they're there just in case you decide you want to install a printer or use a scanner, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Just see where this hostile comes in. There it is. There we go. Yeah, unfortunately, reversing away from still seems to be a valid tactic. We will get over that. We will make it more fun and more challenging.
I had another tactic with taking on the multiple hostiles earlier in Terran Conflict.
Oh, okay.
I jumped into a system
Mm-hmm.
and straight away, without doing anything, these three pirates decided to attack me and killed me.
Oh.
So I reloaded, jumped back into the system, and I made my way over to a group of capital ships that were in the middle of the sector. And these three pirates followed me all the way into these capital ships and got killed. And I just thought that was funny.
Yeah, that's always a good tactic. The old phone a friend tactic. You know.
You want to attack me and follow me? Right, follow me
Come on
to
then,
these
come
capital
on,
ships
come on.
and they can take you out.
Oh, what was this? I was talking to a friend about a game. What was it? I can't remember what it was called now. Origin of Sin or something like that. It's one that's been kickstarted just recently. It's an RPG style game, and he was saying about there was a particular scenario in there that someone had done that sort of thing. They'd basically led a bunch of NPC characters into a village where there was guards and everything, and did exactly that. They just kind of waltzed into town and got their ass handed to them, which was quite funny. But then in another scenario, someone tried to do that, but the enemies they'd trailed in were so powerful that they overpowered the guards and they started killing civilians and things like that. And I thought it was quite fascinating. Their engine was capable enough to actually allow that sort of behaviour. That was quite good.
Yeah.
And that's why I always like that kind of emergent gameplay, and that's something I'm going to be looking forward to seeing a lot more in Elite Dangerous when it's released. Is that kind of, what sort of things can you get away with doing? Oh, my laser is malfunctioned. Excellent. It's completely useless me firing it right now, but it looks pretty when it malfunctions. It does like no damage. It might come through in the feed in a second. There we go. It's come back to normal now. So when it malfunctions, you kind of get this really thin red version of it. It's like it's not focusing. There's no energy in it at all. But it looks pretty. Oh, yeah. Boom, boom, boom. Dead. There we go. And that cobra just sits there, hovering, gloating at me. How very
So
dare he.
you're going to do some Frontier Elite 2 tonight?
Yes, I will get that sorted out now. Let's see where I got to. Honestly, can't remember the last place I was at. So I think what I'll try and do. What on earth was I doing? Can you remember what I was doing the last time?
I'll remind you when I see it come up on the stream.
I honestly cannot remember what on earth I was doing. It was such a long time ago.
You were trying to get your military rankings
Oh,
up.
yes, that was it. So let's just, let's get myself into that position and I'll... So there's an asteroid, perfect. If I get myself in an asteroid field and I'll get this in an asteroid field and we can compare and contrast.
Somehow I think the asteroids in Elite Dangerous are going to look way better.
Just a little bit, yeah, just a tiny amount. Let's see, what I'll try and do actually, what'll be interesting is if I can get these two side by side.
Crash, I think this is an absolute first.
Mm-hmm. What, someone...
Two people
yeah.
talking together from different parts of the country about the same Frontier Elite 2 game.
Yeah,
I
true.
think that's the first. I mean, two people have talked about the same Frontier Elite 2 game in one room, but never in two rooms in different parts of the country.
No, it's true. We're all about firsts here on this channel.
Unless you count the chat.
Well, yeah, true. I've got to try and get this working. How am I going to get this working? Try and get both side by side is not easy. Well, I can get there. Look at that! Look how cool that is! Oh, I miss it. And I got to remind myself where the keys are. My instant reaction there was to try and grab the grab the flight stick, which of course is not going to work on this old emulator.
No.
Ooh.
It's a shame, really, because even my Competition Pro joystick wouldn't work.
Yeah, that was. I wanted to get it set up with that actually, but it just wouldn't work. So there we go. We have Asteroid. Let's try and get this.
And we're joined by Commander Stigron.
Yay! Greetings, Commander.
Nice timing, Stigron.
Perfect timing. We were just saying, well, let's get these two side by side. At least I try anyway. I was trying to get this set up earlier on, but it wasn't working. So let's. I know on the XSplit you could just independently size the streams and it would work quite well, but
Right.
on this it doesn't seem to be working. Oh dear, 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 I should have prepared this. Right, there's one. Nope, and the second one just screws up entirely.
Ooh.
I don't know. Yeah, we just seem to get replication in the window there when I do that. I don't know why that is. I get in the wrong window entirely. That is a pain in the backside.
Locutus is just saying he always thought the asteroids in Frontier Elite 2 looked like giant peanuts floating in space.
They do kind of, don't they? I always thought the same, actually. Let's find a rotating asteroid. Get it side by side. There's got to be some rotating. Fortunately, they don't look peanut-shaped anymore. Bong, 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 bong. I've lost it. I've lost it. There it is. Didn't have my headlights on, that's what it was. Couldn't see it. So I don't know if I can get these side by side, but I can definitely switch between the two. I'm not getting... No, I'm just not getting the correct feed come through on there, which is a bit of a pain. But I can switch between the two. Yay! Oh, here we go. I might have this over now. See, if I hold that there, if I crop that out, I can almost have the classic style view with... and it looks great, it looks fine. I can have the classic cockpit view down the bottom there, and... I need to shrink this, unfortunately. It's not easy to set this up at all. It's such a pain to get this right. That's excellent. That's not the effect I was going for, but that does look quite funny.
I so hope one of the Easter eggs they put in is for you to be able to switch to Frontier Elite 2 mode in Elite Dangerous.
Yeah.
And switch to wireframe mode
Oh,
in Elite
definitely,
Dangerous.
definitely. That would be brilliant. I'd love to see that.
Just little Easter eggs they put in. Like an achievement. You know, you get so far and it's an achievement and then you've unlocked wireframe mode, for example.
That would be great fun. I'd love to see that. I cannot get this to work side by side. I could squeeze that into the corner is about the best I can do really on that, but it still gives you a loose impression. Side by side. I think what I'll have to do is I'll have to switch back and forth between the two views. I think is the only reasonable way I can do it.
I wouldn't worry. I think we get the idea.
There's a little bit of a difference when you look at it. You know, not much, but I think you can see 20 years worth of improvement there. I think between the two. I think that's. I mean, it's one of the things I was talking. I mean, to my sister about the scanner. She was like, you know, why have you got the scanner? I was like, oh, you know, I was like, blasphemy. I was like, you cannot put the scanner down. You know, the central scanner is like key part of the heritage of the game. You've got to keep it in there. You know, it's one of those things you've got to have in the game. So. You know, I was explaining to her as like, you know, why it's important, and you know, once I'd shown her like how to use the scanner effectively, she was like, oh yeah, I can see how that would work. So definitely, thunk. Bit more impressive crashing into an asteroid in this version. Ooh, ooh, bang! Oh, crunch. Crunch. Just for giggles, this, if I find my mouse would be a good start. Hang on. There we go. Switch back to Frontier and I'll see if I can, I don't think you have any kind of survivability from an asteroid impact in Frontier. I think if you crash into one, you're dead. Yep. Boom! So in a lot of ways the new game is a bit more forgiving. Been talking to myself for the last minute.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
put me on mute. How dare you? I'm only teasing.
Oh, I can believe I was just happily explaining to myself about various things, and wow. No, I was just thinking about it then. You know, surely if you wanted to hide evidence of illegal radioactive dumping, you'd go and collect it and take it somewhere else, rather than blowing it into fragments and spreading the radiation all over the place. But that's just me thinking too logically about things. Just shoot it. Shoot it. Go take it to Slough.
I think there's 4 commanders who are going to have one very irate female commander after.
I would just, I'd hyperspace in and sit back and watch the fireworks. Just don't mind me.
To be more fair about it, I think it's only, what, 2 of them? One
Yeah.
or 2 of them?
Yeah.
Responsible for that.
Oh dear, so it's all these little things from the community which I'm really going to enjoy when the game's out. Actually, I'm going to be sat there like a fly in the wall, really. You know, just kind of like watching all these random arguments break out. You know, Michael Brooks blowing Psycho Cow up, and you know, or disabling his his ship with the kill Psycho Cow button. You know. Oh dear. No, all these little things I think they're going to be great to experience when the game's out. And I'll just quite happily sit there with my popcorn and on the edge of the system watching them play out. Hopefully I've not painted a target on my back by showing any of this.
I think when Michael Brooks and Psycho end up in the there's going to be an audience of about 50 odd shits sitting around in a big circle.
Like, yeah, you guys carry on. You go ahead. We're gonna watch. Yeah, that's when Michael calls in the backup, and DB shows up then in his fully kitted out ship. Yeah, exactly. Oh dear.
Endermit has a question.
Oh, go ahead.
Can you destroy the asteroid with missiles?
I don't think you can currently. I think it's planned eventually that you can start blowing the asteroids up, because that's the main constituent of the mining career. But at the moment, I don't think you can. And what I'll do is... What on earth am I doing in this mission? Let me just finish this mission. We'll go back to the scenario list and see if there's one where I get missiles with the asteroid system. Let's have a quick look at the scenario list. Okay, so I think with that one, no.
Stigron has a question for you in the chat. You might want to answer in the chat.
Oh, okay. Let me just quick check that. Okay, so what have we got here? Beam laser and multi-cannon. Nope, that's no good. Let's go back to the scenario list. You know, I don't know if we do actually have a...
Can you even target an asteroid?
No, at the moment I don't think you can. I think they don't actually show up as hostile targets or anything, really. Well, a hostile asteroid. Don't exactly hate.
I mean, if you can't target it, you can't fire a missile at it.
No, I mean, well, you've got the dumbfire missiles that you can shoot out in any direction, anything. You know,
Right.
there's no real thing there. But no, I think you can. In the moment, you could quite happily shoot and shoot and shoot until the cows come home, and you wouldn't get anywhere with this. I have an issue. Oh, there we go. Right, that helps. Just pulled the cable out the back of my joystick. Thinking, I've got.
That doesn't help.
Yeah, I've got throttle, but I've got no control. That sucks.
So the thing to do is to fit an engine and a couple of guns to an asteroid and fly an asteroid around.
Yeah, that I'd like to see. That would be funny. Although, I mean, that from what we've seen, that is how the pirate bases look, isn't it? We've seen the.
Have we seen pirate bases in Elite Dangerous?
Well, we've had the concept art and whatnot showing some of the which
right.
one is it? I think it was Michael Brooks' favourite one, wasn't it? The concept art we've seen from the Kickstarter. You know, where pirate bases tend to be these things carved out the side of the larger asteroids, little tiny bases glued to the side, effectively. So it's looking like no matter what I do, I'm not going to be able to perform a sufficient enough chunk of damage to these asteroids, and I think at the moment they are completely indestructible, but I imagine different weapons and different types would be more effective against them. I mean, the biggest problem with firing any kind of missile at an asteroid is you're probably not going to do a lot of damage. You're just going to be hitting the surface, and you'll probably just push it away more so than breaking it. You're much better off trying to fragment it and cut it up into chunks with something like a beam laser or something like that to get down into the core of it, get it to split into fragments and scoop up the fragments, than you would be to fire a missile at it, because you're just going to punt the thing out into a lower orbit. So I kind of annoyed myself early on. I thought of an interesting scenario for something which could have fit well into the discussion that was going on the DDF. I think it was a month ago now, about some of the different scenarios that we could have had. And I thought it would be interesting to have a particular system on a very early planet, which is still in the process of forming, where it effectively is constantly being bombarded by asteroids, and you have to supply them with shield equipment and things like that. Just a silly little thing that popped into my head earlier on. I thought that would be an interesting situation. So it was annoying. You think of these things when it's too late. There we go. I'm just going to hide behind this asteroid. Pick him up.
Well, when it comes to scenarios, I don't think anything is too late. I mean, even after they release the game, they're still going to inject by hand things like scenarios into the game. So if someone thinks up a good scenario, they could still stick it in the game.
Yeah, I should definitely post something like that up on the forum. Think about it a bit more first before I just go wildly throwing it up on there. I mean, for all I know, someone else could have suggested it already. It was quite a hotly talked about topic when it came up on the DDF. There was a lot of interesting ideas being thrown around by a lot of different people on the forum, and it was good to see actually, because I mean that was one of the things that I was, I'm not say concerned about, but one of the things I wanted to see more of in this version of the game was more variation in the various scenarios and whatnot, because and that's one of the things that in Frontier Elite 2 which kind of got to me after a while. As fun as it was, that once you'd done a few of the different variations of missions, you'd practically done them all, and there was really no no reason to go back and play them again. I mean, particularly the from the playthroughs that I was doing earlier on, the military missions, constantly taking packages back and forth. It gets, oh god, another package.
No, I think you were close to getting the assassination missions.
I think I was actually. I think it might be worthwhile to switch back to that. I'll have to put a gap in the stream or something, and I'll switch the game type over for Twitch, and then we might go back to that for a bit of fun, just because, for nostalgia's sake.
Yeah. I think there's one person in the chat who'll be happy if you do. This is
one. Right, yeah, I'll try and get that organised now, and I'll do some of that off the screen for a second actually. So if everyone gives me 5 minutes to get set up and organised, and then I'll switch over to some Frontier Elite 2 just for good old time's sake. Greetings, Commanders! Welcome back to... I assume this is part 2, really? I suppose we can call it part 2. Frontier Elite 2. Yay! Where it all began for me. So I just gotta get the sound levels right. Excellent. Hopefully that's coming across okay for everyone now. Not much sound in this game compared to the other one. Might be worthwhile me leaving Elite Dangerous running in the background for the background music. Alright, now at least with this game I've got plenty of screen real estate, so I can actually have multiple things up on there.
I am still here, just in case anyone's wondering. I unplugged my microphone long enough to microwave the half a mug of tea I've got.
I could do with a mini fridge for the remainder of this beer I have. Ah, dear.
I have thought about that, getting a mini fridge and putting it next to the computer desk.
I actually have one. I just need to get off my lazy backside and plug it in. It's all the way over there. It's just there we go. So I can't actually update. I just quickly tried to look. I can't update the stream title to say that I'm actually playing something other than Elite Dangerous because they don't seem to have Frontier Elite 2 listed, which is just a travesty. I'm going to have to write an email of complaint.
Had it up before.
Oh, okay. I will check that again shortly. I don't know why that's not showing up on there.
It's not urgent, Kerrash. You don't have to do
No,
it right
I was going to say no. When I bring up the highlights, I'll change it in the highlights.
Yeah.
But no, it's.
I just thought for a moment you were saying they haven't got it.
Oh, I couldn't see it. I was going through it. I was like, where is it? Where is it? Ah, terrible. I was just about to complain and stamp my feet. Do you know, I'm trying to remember what on earth I was doing. So we were doing the military missions, weren't we? That's what we were doing,
yes.
Right? Okie dokie. So what have we got? We need to blah 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 blah. Superconducting wire, boring. Military components, boring. I suppose I could do those 2 to the 61 Cygni. Wasn't that an annoying system that didn't like radioactives coming into its area?
Yeah, don't go 61 Cygni. Don't go there.
It wasn't.
You ended up deciding never to go there ever again.
Yeah, there was something that. Oh no, it wasn't. It wasn't that. It was because it was a binary system, and you end up in the middle of nowhere, don't you? Yes, it's not the radioactives. It's because you end up hundreds of AU away from anything, and you never get there. Damn you all to heck. Okay, it might be back to good old Ross 154 then. Although there is one to the Altair system. That would be worthwhile. Yeah, let's go to Altair. Why not? See, the unfortunate side of this is, you know, even if you scream crew at me, I'm still not going to see it in time.
No. Unless you slow down.
I'm gonna stop rushing. So there's no need for me to rush really. I'm not racing now. I mean, the only reason I was rushing to get the elite rating out because I was really worried. I didn't know how long it was going to be until we would see the alpha and how much time I'd have to do it. And I was determined before I got my head set into the alpha that I would get to elite ranking on there.
You'd whiz through that bullet board so quick I couldn't keep up reading it. I don't know how you managed it. I couldn't do it.
Oh, I just in the zone. That's what boom! Love that. See, this is my equivalent of the sneeze gun in here. The old 30 megawatt mining laser. Love it.
Laser, yeah.
Boom! Pew pew! Bang!
Doesn't fire as rapidly as the beam laser does, though, or the pulse laser.
No, absolutely not.
Which is the drawback with it.
See, the one thing I did actually notice, there's actually 3 types of laser now in Elite Dangerous. Did you notice them in the scenarios?
Laser or weapon?
Well, the lasers, yeah, 3 different types of laser weapon.
I haven't noticed them in the actual game. I think I've seen different types of lasers talked about on the forum, but not actually seen them in the game.
So what I saw on there was actually there's your obligatory kind of beam laser, pulse laser, which we're all used to, but there was actually a burst laser as well, which is kind of like an intermediate kind of laser. It would shoot like 3 or 4 shots off in short succession before needing to cool down for a cycle,
Right.
which was I actually quite liked that. That was quite good. You could get a few shots across if you were moving rapidly enough. You can get a few shots across the bow of a large ship with that one. So that was an interesting weapon. I might favour that one early on in the release.
Right.
Where we Vega system. Why do I think that Eta Cassiopeia definitely not going there? Vega system, that's out in the middle of nowhere, and there's never anything back, is there? But I think we're going to have to go that way. Never mind. What have we got? 9:15 to car 16th of we can make 16th of February. Can't remember the last time I serviced my ship though. Mind you, it was a while ago we were playing this. So 17th of August last year. I had to go a little bit longer before it packs up on me. So that's one thing I'm really glad we've got something to deal with that now. I don't know how they're going to deal with it. I mean, I assume if you're not playing Iron Man mode, I assume that if you get lost in there, you're going to be able to call for support, and you'll have an NPC spawn in, 30 seconds later or something like that. I assume.
It's saying secret dossiers on the bulletin board. If you haven't already left.
No, I've not left yet. No, I was just browsing around, making sure I had everything. Like I said, try not to rush this time. Around the things too quick. Forget to put my landing gear up. Dear. Traces Haven. So the other thing I can do, actually, if anyone is interested in it, I do have a couple of other space games that we were playing around with in the run-up waiting for the alpha. I think I mentioned you briefly at the start, didn't I, Alien? I've gone and bought myself what's it called? Lunar Flight? I don't know if anyone's heard of that one. But it does have Rift support, so for £1.70 in the Steam sale, I couldn't say no to that really. It is quite an intriguing little game. It's very realistic, we'll put it that way. Much like Kerbal Space Program, really. It's unforgiving, I think is another way of putting it.
Right.
I don't know if have you seen that one at all, that Lunar Flight?
No, I haven't.
It's really quite simple. I mean, you have something very similar to the Apollo lander sort of ship that you fly, but obviously with the Rift, and you've got this full wraparound view. It's kind of unrealistic in that respect, because you've got a big glass view on it, which you just wouldn't have in that Apollo lander. But it works really well in the Rift, because you can see yourself as you're hovering over the surface of the craters and whatnot. It works really, really well for that sort of thing. So
Right.
all being well, I'll might give that a go later on. As it's probably like I said right at the start, it's probably the end of your show. Really, I don't know whether I'm going to be able to fit in another stream before the end of the year. Can you believe it? 2013 done with. My word.
Yeah.
Hey, next year's going to be even better though.
You say this all the time, that the year goes too fast.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. But we've all got something really good to look forward to next year. So.
I can't believe it. I can't believe it was 2009. Michael Jackson died.
Oh,
I'm sure it wasn't that long ago.
No, I mean that yeah, I mean someone else was talking about that to me. I couldn't believe it was that long ago. Jeez. Oh dear. Cannot shoot for toffee right now.
So I joined the Egosoft forum on sometime in 2009. March 2009, I think it was.
Oh.
And Michael Jackson died in June 2009. And I'm thinking, I'm sure I joined that forum a long time before Michael Jackson died.
It's funny, it's like your mind plays tricks on you when it comes to the perception of time and things like that. It's, you know, I still can't get my head around how long ago this version of the game came out compared to the new one. It doesn't feel like 20 years, definitely. No federal military missions at all, and I've severely damaged my ship now. Oh, that's going to cost me a fortune.
Of course, in a Viper, you haven't got room for the whole auto repair system.
Oh no, I think that's is it somewhere in the region of 40 tons, something like that?
Tons,
So, yeah, my word. Now, sorry, I just saw the chat come up. Do I live in 1982? Hey, there's nothing wrong with that year.
Nothing wrong with 1982 when it was 1982.
Yeah, true. Yeah. If only I could get this running on the Rift, you know, for a proper comparison.
I'll tell you what. Let me know now. Let me know what I know now. Back in 1982, and I could be a millionaire. I could be rich. I could own the world.
Yeah, especially if you had an eidetic memory and you could take all the lottery numbers with you, you know. Oh, I've completely lost him. Oh my god. It goes to show I've got used to that other way of playing, and now coming back to this, I am not doing particularly well. Definitely don't feel like an elite pilot right now. So.
Oh, what is Elite Dangerous going to be like on Talk Like a Pirate Day? there is a day of the year that is Talk Like a Pirate Day.
Excellent. That's going to be great fun. Brilliant.
We have it in Mist Online, where when it's Talk Like a Pirate Day, everyone's going around going, "Arr!"
That'd be great
in
fun.
chat, so it's an A and a load of R's in the chat. Funny to see.
Oh, brilliant. I think that would suit a lot of people. I think, you know, obviously, yeah, piracy is going to be a big part of the game.
Automatic pilot damage!
Oh, I know, it's alright. I can get there manually, I think. It's worth a shot anyway. What I mean, I just got so used to. Oh, ow! So used to playing it in the new game. It's surprising how completely different it is. Going back to this now, I feel like a complete noob.
This is why you shouldn't get so used to one way of doing things.
Yeah.
Oh no, your atmospheric shielding is gone.
Yeah, it's all right. I'm aiming for a space station anyway. We'll be fine. It's just a scratch. It'll buff out, don't we? providing he hasn't got a 4 megawatt pulse laser, in which case I'm screwed. One hit off one of those and I will be knackered. Might just take me a little while to get there, just to make sure I do actually have some fuel as well. Sticker in places is more than Elite Dangerous. Ah, what happened there? Did I... There it is. Okay, we get there. I'm determined, tenacious, if nothing else. I will get there. Ah, slow down, slow down. Of course, the thing that always used to bug me was the old snapping into relative frames of reference, which is you didn't notice at all in autopilot, but when you're trying to manually do things, my God, it was a pain in the backside when your thruster's just kicking to different frames of references, and you know, suddenly your velocity is something completely different in a completely different orientation. You don't know where you are.
Yeah.
There we go. Just the I need to be relative to Harrison's relay. Come on, come on. Slow myself down a heck of a lot actually coming in at this speed, several kilometers a second. It's not going to do me any favours. We'll get there. We'll get there.
So you might have to do this in Elite Dangerous, you never know.
Oh, I'm hoping we'll have situations like this. It'd be really fun to have that kind of... Well, I mean, it's like one of the earlier concept art pictures, wasn't it? The old limping Own picture. I quite like the look of that, where it's you are manually trying to get back after a huge battle, something like that. I think that's going to be huge fun. I think, yep, I think I've got another problem, is the fact that my my left thruster is damaged, so I can't actually slow myself down. Come on. I just need to bleed off that velocity.
See, when I restarted First Encounters, the very first jump I made, I got my right thruster damaged, I think it was. And I didn't even bother trying to dock it at a station, because I thought I'll never catch it, even manually.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I went for the planet, because I thought it would be easier to land on the planet than it would be to try and dock at a station.
Yeah, yeah, I know what you mean. Of course, now I've screwed myself with the fact my atmospheric shielding is knackered as well, so I don't stand a chance. I've only got 11% hull left. It's fine, it's just a scratch. It's fine. Oh, it's going to cost me a fortune, right?
And you're in.
Yay! And, oh, yeah, atmospheric shielding. Left thruster, yeah. Several, oh Christ, 55 tons of damage. It's fine. It'll go for another couple of light years. It'll be alright. Oh dear. I won't pass the MOT next time, right? That would be interesting if we have something like that built in. I think that would be quite funny, actually. Instead of a service, it's like an MOT.
Did they not say something that your ship would be worth more if you looked after it?
Yeah, I think they did actually, yeah. So if you, the resale value would be a lot better if you did actually look after it, so that'd be no good for me.
And then the late radio guys were joking about John and T-Cut.
Yeah, that